Tuesday, June the 11th at 5:30. We'll roll call start with Councilwoman Ryder.
Here. Trustee White, Vice Chairman Ballhorn.
Yep.
Trustee Cronster.
Here.
Chairman White, or Robinson.
Yes. We'll go on to the consent agenda. The following items are considered routine by the Reno Authority and will be enacted with one motion. Should the discussion be desired on any item, the item will be removed from the consent agenda, considered separately. Number one, approval of the minutes of the May 14th, 2014 regular meeting of the Reno Park Authority. And two is the approval of the minutes of the May 30th, 2019 special meeting in the Reno Airport Authority.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion second, roll call, or start with Councilman Cronister.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Ballhorn. Trustee White, Trustee Ryder.
Yes.
Chairman Robinson.
Yes. Let's go to discussion items. First item on discussion is second consideration of possible action to approve an agricultural lease contract at the Reno Airport, Regional Airport. Can you touch on that a little bit? I noticed that we have someone else interested, it looks like this year from the previous.
We did, and honestly, if it's okay with Joe, refer my time to the assistant superintendent since he's helped directly with this.
Okay.
Yeah, so we received several bids on the ag lease at the airport, and the best bid this year was it's for a 5-year lease term. That's $25,100 a year, which when we did this 5 years ago, it was $20,000, which is what we did per year. So a little bit of an increase. The next next best bid was $18,000 a year. So the $25,100 to Justin Owens is who the bidder was.
That's a 5-year lease?
That's a 5-year lease.
I just interject that it's actually 5 one-year leases, since one council can't buy the next.
Okay, 5 1 years.
But it's
It's
a
a trust authority.
It's airport.
it's a 5-year lease.
Yeah, 5 years old, yeah.
Okay. Motion to approve.
Second.
Or start with Ryder.
Yes.
Trustee White, Vice Chairman Ballhorn. Trustee Cronster.
Yes.
Chairman Robinson.
Yes. Number 4 is discussion, consideration, possible action to approve the fiscal year 2020 contract with the Oklahoma Department of Corrections.
Motion approved.
I got a motion, I got a second.
Second.
Motion second. Start with Mr. Cronister again.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Ballhorn.
Yep.
Trustee White. Trustee Ryder. Chairman Robinson.
Yes. Motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Call El Reno Recreational Authority regular meeting, June 11, 2019. Call meeting to order with Ms. Ryder.
Here. Trustee Robinson.
Yes.
Trustee White.
Yes.
Trustee Cronster.
Here.
Chairman Ballhorn.
Yes. Consent agenda. Following items are considered to be routine by the El Reno Recreational Authority and will be enacted with one motion. Should discussion be desired on any item, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. Number 1, approval of minutes of May 14, 2019 regular meeting of the El Reno Recreational Authority.
Motion approved.
Second. Have a motion and a second. Vote will start with Ms. Ryder.
Yes.
Trustee Robinson.
Yes.
Trustee White.
Yes.
Trustee Cronster.
Yes.
Chairman Ballhorn.
Yes. I think it's adjournment too. Adjournment?
A motion to adjourn.
It's
just a typo.
It's a typo. Discussion.
Okay, so we gotta hit number 2 then?
Yeah.
Discussion, consideration and possible action to approve the FY 2020 contract with the Oklahoma Department of Corrections.
I make a motion to approve.
As the other authority, their purpose.
Oh, that's a different.
Nope, same one.
Oh, okay.
A second.
Okay, we got first, second, and a half a third. Vote will start with Ms. Ryder.
Trustee Robinson.
Yes.
Trustee White.
Yes.
Trustee Cronster.
Yes.
Chairman Ballhorn.
Yep. Adjournment?
So moved. Second.
First, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hospital Authority regular meeting Tuesday, June 11, 2019, 5:30 to order. Roll call start with Vice Trustee Cronister. Here.
Trustee Ballhorn.
Yep.
Trustee Robinson.
Yes.
Trustee Ryder. Chairman White.
Yes, we'll go on to consent agenda. The following items we consider routine by the City of Reno Hospital Authority. Be acted one motion. Should discussion be desired on that item be removed from the consent agenda, considered separately. Number one, approval of minutes of the May 14, 2019 regular meeting of the City of Reno Hospital Authority. Number two, approval of claims requiring trustee authorization for a period beginning May 1st, 2019 and ending May 31st, 2019. I got a motion by Robinson, second by Cronister. Roll call vote start with Ryder.
Yes. Trustee Robinson.
Yes.
Trustee Ballhorn.
Yep.
Vice Chairman Cronister.
Yes.
Chairman White.
Yes. Just kind of, Kent, just kind of bring up to speed, we're kind of going through it at the hospital. We're in a design process. They're working through the, just kind of give an update to everybody else. They're working on an update with the facility, with the health department. Is that right, Kent? I
In
mean,
the current facility, we received notice that the Joint Commission will be out to do an inspection within the next 6 months, which we were hoping they wouldn't, but a few little items that we're working with SSM to make sure that that'll be a good inspection on their point. On the new facility, the architects have submitted the plans to the health department. The first step in getting the health department's approval on the new one, at the same time proceeding with the design phase of the new facility.
so we're pretty excited about that. I think what we're trying to do, Mr. Reinhardt, I know Karen's gonna keep you in mind, Mr. Freddie, we finished up everything with Mercy at this point in time. And Marshall, I think the first payment's due July the 1st at that point in time. So you've all authorized me to sign documents. We're just, it's at the legalese part, Roger and Karen. We should be closing that up, Mr. Frazier. I think hopefully this next week, latest be next week, finalizing things. That's what you understand. The kid, I mean, Roger, just to make sure all those things. Motion for adjournment. I got a motion. My Ballhorn, second by Robinson. Roll call, let's start with all fair say aye. Richard. It's now 5:38, and I call everyone this authority regular meeting Tuesday, the June 11th, 2019 order. We'll start roll call, start with Vice Mayor Cronister. Here.
Trustee Ballhorn.
Vice Trustee.
Yep.
Trustee Robinson.
Here.
Trustee Ryder. Chairman White.
Yes. All right, we'll move on to deletions, continues to the agenda. Are there any? If not, we'll go on D, consider agenda, final item, and consider routine by municipal authority, and enact one motion. Should discussion be desired on that item be removed from the consent agenda or considered separately. Number one, approval of minutes of the May 14, 2019 regular meeting of the Reno Municipal Authority. Number two, approval of claims requiring trustee authorization for the period beginning May 1st, 2019, ending May 31st, 2019. I got a motion by Vice Trustee Cronister. Second by Robinson. Roll call start with Ryder.
Yes. Trustee Robinson.
Yes.
Trustee Ballhorn.
Yep.
Vice Chairman Cronister.
Yes.
Chairman White.
Yes. We'll go on to E, discussion items. Discussion, consideration, possible action to approve resolution 19-036, resolution of the El Reno Municipal Authority, the authority accepting responsibilities designated of the authority by the City of El Reno, Oklahoma, the city, pursuant to Crossroads Point Economic Development Project Plan adopted by the city, approving, authorizing execution of amended and restated economic development agreement among the authority, the city development agreement among the authority and the city, and Crossroads Point LLC, ratifying and confirming security agreement and between the authority and the city pertaining to the tax increment revenues provided by the use assistance and development financing containing other provisions related thereto. Basically, Paul, you don't even know what that says, do you? I heard it. Okay. Now, appreciate you being here, Mr. King. Mr. King is one of the partners in the Crossroads Point. Mr. Frazier met with, today, you and myself, we met with Nate Ellis with our financing group. Paul, we went over everything. We've been in discussions with this for several times. I know Roger, Bass Law Firms work back and forth on this. We've all had to do that. We're starting our second phase at Crossroads Point. You guys have done an excellent job out there. We've got Wendy's opened up this last week. We have some other perspectives. The hospital, we're trying to close on the land on that to get that perspective. This is part of the next phase. We have a ceiling amount that we have set up a little over, I think maybe 2 is what we have, something like that. But We suspect what we have coming right now should be under the $800,000 to $900,000 mark at that point in time. So all this is done by the financing agreement that we have done with the Avalon tax, with the tax increment financing district. So all that's been generated by what you all sold out there. And the bottom line, you guys are on the hook for the ultimate amount anyway. So you all done a great job development. We feel real good about it. It came to a point to where, Paul, we were really, you, myself, and Ron were kind of thinking this might be about another 2 years out, but with the interest we've had and some of the things that we have cooking right now, not just at the hospital, but some other things we have on the books, we feel like really now's the time to go ahead and start this phase. Is that up in a nutshell?
Sounds great.
Okay. Mr. Frazier, I think we feel good about it as a city, our financial director, and I know Mr. Reinhardt, we've seen through everything with the basketball from this point in time. So we'll start phase 2 across Road Point to continue that roadway on there for some more future development. And like I said, I think our team, Mr. Frazier, Mr. Sandage, we have some things on the hook right now that we're in negotiations with. And I know Mr. King and Mr. Ward have some things they're trying to sell also. Okay, to make a motion that we approve this. I have a motion, second roll call vote, start with Ryder.
Yes. Trustee Robinson.
Yes.
Trustee Ballhorn.
Yep.
Vice Chairman Cronster.
Yes.
Chairman White.
Yes. Motion for adjournment? Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Anybody here from Ministerial Alliance? Oh, I knew you were saying. Not right, I'm not, just want to make sure you're here. I knew, I looked right, don't start with me yet, Cole, I'm gonna jump into it. I sit there looking at you 3 or 4 times, and I knew it was you.
The pink shirt was
I
supposed to be
think
the tip off,
shirt.
right? Don't forget.
Let's call the meeting order. It's now 5:42, I now call it a real city council meeting, regular meeting of Tuesday, June the 11th, 2019, to order. Roll call start with Vice Mayor Cronster.
I'm here.
Councilman Ballhorn.
Yep.
Councilman Robinson.
Here.
Councilman Ryan. Mayor White.
Yes. Colton Lott from the First Christian Church. So glad to have you. Would you please, everybody stand, and would you lead us in a word of the Lord? Absolutely.
Holy God, we take a moment to pause and remember. To remember that the ground that we stand on has a rich history and a long future. And for a moment, we are its stewards. Pause and remember that the breath that we breathe in gives us life is a gift, radically and ridiculously free. We remember Tim Salas and Bridget Brockwell and the pain that their families are feeling. We remember those who lost everything with water and wind. We remember first responders who showed up in bravery to rescue and save. We remember survivors who have come through the storm, but not without scars. We remember the sacred trust that these civic leaders have been given to pursue your righteousness, to pursue your love, to join in creating a world where all of your children have the ability to thrive and live free from fear. Divine of the universe, we not only remember, but we celebrate today. We celebrate that for a moment the rain has stopped, and we ask that you keep doing that. We celebrate our graduates from Mount Reno High School, Canadian Valley Technology Center, and Redlands Community College. We celebrate the lives they are embarking on, the ways that they are now educated citizens, and that they will make a rich contribution to society and to their families. We celebrate the LGBTQ plus community and the contributions they make to our common life in El Reno during this Pride Month. We celebrate that for a moment the entire world was looking at this community, and we showed them just how good we are. That though we might be an imperfect community, we are pretty good. And we know how to love one another, and we know how to take care of one another too. And we celebrate that all of us are called to this time, in this place with these people, to love one another, to walk one another, and to care for one another deeply. God, you are the giver of all good gifts. And so today and always we celebrate and remember that there is enough, that there is more than enough, that there is even abundance. Help us to live into your abundance this day and always. Amen.
Join me in the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Home, don't leave, sit up there. We appreciate that. What a great prayer. Thank you so much. Hit everything on the head. Tell us what's going on at the First Christian Church, and we really appreciate you being so involved in our community. It's so glad and refreshing that you're here. So appreciate your friendship.
Yeah, absolutely. So First Christian, it's the summer break, so we're busier than ever. We are doing the work of educating youth and adults. This summer we have our Women and Weirdos Bible study. This week we're talking about Deborah and her leadership in Israel. Most importantly, what I want to share with you all particularly is that we were contacted by First Presbyterian Church of Edmond, who wanted to do something to celebrate the first responders and to take a time to pause and say, hey, we all made it through this somehow, didn't we? And so on June the 23rd, Sunday afternoon at 5:30, there will be a short worship service and a meal provided for city leaders and first responders. So I invite you to put it on your calendar. I hope many of you can come as the First Presbyterian Church of Edmond comes and shows a little love to our police officers, fire departments, ambulance workers, and city officials who put in countless hours and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to help bring back safety and order to our community after all of these storms.
Colin, thanks for everything you do. We really appreciate you. You guys do such a great job at First Christian Church. We're glad to have you all in our community, and we couldn't do it without you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're glad to be here.
Okay, we'll move on to new business. Alicia, Teach time. I think we have a presentation, an introduction. Is that correct, man?
That's right. 2 introductions.
2 introductions, sorry. You want to do
Sure.
it? Or who does it? Well, one of them's yours. Who's the other one?
HR director.
Oh, that's his. Then you do one, and he do one. One of them yours, one of them's Jeremy's. You only have one this one. I didn't see Kate. There she is. Got here late. Good job, Katie.
Well, we have our new library director here tonight, Miss Kylie Ingram. She's, sure, we can stand.
Hi, nice to meet you all.
Worked for the Metropolitan Library System
Yes.
for several years, Masters in Library Science. We're happy to have her here in El Reno, work for our Carnegie Library. We have the renovation that's underway and moving forward, so
Yes.
got a lot going on this summer.
Yes, a lot to be excited about. So thank you all. I've had nothing but the warmest reception into the community by the city, by the library staff, by everyone I've met in the community so far. So thank you all, and I'm excited to work with you more in the future.
Holly, we're so glad to have you. You've already done great things. Thank you so much for doing it. Ms. Frazier, you can introduce your honor.
Well, I didn't see you all in the introduce, but we have Jen Brookshire. She is coming to us from the city of Chickasha and stole her away.
That's
So-
you did good, Frazier.
And she's been a great addition to our staff. She is basically filling in holes that we never knew we didn't have filled. She's kind of whipping us into shape from an HR policy perspective and just keeping us on track, keeping us legal, which we love. And she is just been a wonderful addition, great personality, and I think she'll be a long-term fit that will be good for the city.
Great hire, both, you both hired, great hire both of you. Thank you both. And thank you, ladies. We're glad to have both of you, and both of you already made a big impact to city staff, to the city, and to the citizens. So thank you all for being here. All right, anybody else I forgot? Because Lindsay didn't put it on my agenda. Is that a mistake? All right, we'll move on to consent agenda. Follow items be considered routine by the city council. We have one motion. Should discussion be desired on that item, that'll be removed from consent agenda and considered separately. Number one, approval of amendments. April 16th, 2019 special meeting, Delaware City Council. Number two, approval of minutes of the May 14th, 2019 regular meeting. Number three, approval of minutes of the May 30th, 2019 special meeting of Delaware City Council. Number four, acknowledgement of a donation received by the El Reno Police Department from Scott McCann, the amount of $500. Acknowledgement of donation received by the El Reno Fire Department from Scott McCann, the amount of $500. And then six, approval of resolution 19041, resolution of El Reno City Council assigning the 911 emergency telephone rates, fee rate to the 911 ACOG. And then number seven, approval of claims requiring council authorization for period beginning May 1st, 2019, ending May 31st, 2019. You want to pull anything? I want to thank Scott McCann for that generous donation to our police and fire department. I know the chiefs appreciate Scott, everything he does for us, and all his service to our community, but also just as a citizen. Anybody else want to pull anything? Not? All right, motion approved. Got one from Robinson. Second by Ballhorn. Roll call start with Robinson.
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn?
Yep.
Councilman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Reno?
Yes.
Mayor White?
Yes. Moving on to E, audience participation. Anyone having business present to the city of El Reno does not appear on the agenda, please come to the podium at this time. Please state your name, your request to limit your presentation to 3 minutes. Any item being presented must pertain to the city of El Reno business. Anyone? Anyone? Okay, we'll move on to item number 8, discussion items. Number eight, the discussion, the acknowledging countless acts of kindness, generosity for the May 25th, 2019 tornado. Well, I just want to, there's so many individuals and organizations pulled together at this time of need. I don't want to name too many people because I want to forget somebody and someone's going to say, but because it was absolutely incredible how this community band together. I know the councils, everybody was absolutely involved. I appreciate everybody from Councilman Ryder to Councilman Robinson, Councilman Ballhorn, Vice Mayor Connolster. We were all absolutely hands on deck. Cannot thank the staff enough. Mr. Frazier, your staff did a wonderful job. You were right there beside us the whole night. I appreciate you being here. Matt, you came early onward from your vacation, and everybody stepped up to the plate. I want to thank a couple of individuals, Kim Brown and Chief Kim Brown and Chief Magali and Jeff Coble, our Public Works Director. Those three men worked tirelessly like a well-oiled machine. You take something that's chaotic and it's absolutely chaotic in a situation. We've all been in those situations before. That's why I think it works so well. You take something that's so chaotic and then it becomes so well-oiled. It's chaos and total repetition, just get it done, all wrapped in one ball. So what a wonderful team we've had. Pafford could not have done it without them and all their help. St. Anthony's and all their help. I want to mention just a couple of rules. Nancy Salzman at VFW was incredible about stepping forward. She came right there. Craig McVeigh, superintendent of schools, and his team stepped in like they always do. And just the usual suspects that we all do. All the churches involved, all of the, from First Baptist Church to the First Christian Church to the Eastern Church, a couple of translators. I mean, like I said, I hate to get too involved because I don't want to forget somebody and I don't want to do that. I can tell you that we got all these organizations all work together to help these victims. We got money out and received money for our GoFundMe. Allie and I set that up immediately because we knew the need. We contacted the Minister Alliance. We thought that might be the first avenue and talked to Brother Charlie and Yuko and everybody else. We thought maybe we might want to do something because of the amounts that we knew we would receive. And so we received a lot of money and we're still receiving money, Marcia. We gave out over $50,000 to those victims that very first week. Marcia, is that correct?
Yes.
And then we've given out another $100,000 since it. So the GoFundMe account that you saw had over 80 something. We're still getting donations from individuals, from oil companies. We're gonna name some of those people. For the people that own Target, the Man Camp gave $20,000. Jones Energy gave $15,000. I haven't even got some stuff from Chase Bank. I have a lot of individuals that reached out to me from connections in Oklahoma City that received. We have one donor that gave a few more to check that we want to talk about. As soon as we get everything in, so in the next couple of months, I think you're gonna be pleased with what, we've tried to address all the needs of those people. There'll be more coming out. We're gonna try to address all the needs and everybody that came to us once, based on training we did. And then FEMA came in today and we gave all the information we received from the flood victims to them to help hopefully getting services located to them so we can get that. So, Christian thing to say, the way that we feel, our cup is full. Our cup overflows. So if we weren't a good Christian community, a strong community, and we all work together, I've said it on TV, I'll say it again, it's nothing to do with the community of 20,000 that we are. El Reno truly is a family of caring, kind individuals based on community, faith, and not only in our faith in Christianity, but our faith in mankind and believing and helping everybody. So hats off to our first responders, hats off to our citizens. I just can't imagine us doing a better job in our community stepping up. So thank you, El Reno, period, end story. So I wanted to say that. All right, move on to 9, to conduct a public hearing, consideration request by James Murphy to reclassify the zoning district from single-family residential R1 to commercial office CO on a tract of approximately 0.65 acres located on the southeast corner of Golf Course Drive and South Country Club Road within the southeast quarter, southeast 4, section 7, township 12, north range 7, more or less in Canadian County, Oklahoma. I now consider this public hearing open. Okay, Dustin, where are you at? All right, Dustin, this is a rezone, and the proposed rezone you see up here on the map right there. This was brought before the planning commission, 2 weeks ago?
Last Thursday.
Okay. I think there was a delay. There was a rain delay or something. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So last Thursday, before planning commission, there were several questions. We're going to go over both those questions so we can kind of work out. There's a petition, and signatures, protest sign within the 100 feet. Is that right?
There were a good number from inside the 300 feet, and then there were a good number from outside of the 300 feet.
Gotcha. And when it went before the planning commission, a lot of the questions and concerns, we'll go with those two, with some of the people out here, were based on traffic volumes, what they're doing, making sure what we're doing now is, what we're asking for is what's going to actually happen in the end result. And that's kind of concerns, I think, of the neighborhood and what they're doing. We'll kind of go with that. And then, what was the outcome of the planning commission?
Planning Commission recommended denial 4-2.
Okay, and I talked to one of them said, the one that denied, he didn't have a problem with it if there was a better plan together. That was kind of the consensus.
That, at least one member of the Planning Commission would say that.
So that's where we are, that's where we're at, and we'll go from there. So, Jim, yes, I guess we'll start off with you. We'll get you in the hot seat first, and we'll let them fry you. I'll put some batter on you and let them fry you. No, you're okay. All right. But basically, Jim, you own this property. Go back. So yeah, you have this property right here, and it's a proposed rezone. You have your real estate office has been there for how long?
40 years.
Okay. And you've had it right here in the little corner, and you just acquired the house to the south of there. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. And then basically, Dustin, the way I understand it, and this is kind of, I'm going to get the neighbors involved here, but the zoning, it's all zoned R1 right now.
That is correct.
But the office has been there for 40 years.
That's also correct.
So we got a problem, period, end story. If we just, my question to you, Murphy, was today, what if we just zoned the office, the old office where he has zoned it commercial, because it's clearly, it was that way, it needs to be that way, it's been that way, it should have been that way. But if you do that, offsets, it won't fit with the conformity of what you have right now. So
That's correct, the lot size would be too small.
that's right, and we'll have a problem there when you go to selling or whatever else. That's kind of what your deal was. Now, Jim, you want to put your real estate office there, is that right?
It just presented an opportunity to do something a little better than what I've got right now.
I got you, because you just have a little small office there and you want something a little bit better.
And, we just need a little more space. We've been able to do pretty well with what we've got, but it'd be nice to have something a little larger.
Okay, and we talked some today, I want to talk to neighbors, let me see if I can I want to see if we we got a problem here, and we're going to figure this out, and I want everybody to kind of get involved, so I want to kind of work through this process. The problem is, you have a business there, and I can't really, your grandfathered in because you ran the business there for 40 years. It's not right because it's zoned that way, it's zoned R1. Now, you can split those lots up, and you can have 2 different lots there for housing, but I don't know if that's what they want either, because that won't fit with the conformity either. So we kind of got a problem here. Basically, you want to put your office there, is that right?
Right.
You want to have your real estate office located there.
Right, I want to make it larger than what it is.
Than what you currently have.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, let me come back to you, Murphy. All right, now let's hear from some of the complaints. Mike, come on up.
Okay. I was elected to kind of go around and get signatures from in the 300 feet area, and it was amazing the feelings that they had against Mr. Murphy because of how the grounds were kept on his grandfather's R1 and everything, and had 24 homeowners within the 300 feet that opposed anything that he did to it, as far as rezoning to commercial, whatever his plan is. And then I had 8 people just supported me because I'm driving up and down with my golf cart. Said, hey, I want to sign that, I want to support you. And that's just on Golf Course Drive. 3 houses were vacant within the 300 feet. 2 people didn't vote because of personal reason, and 1 was on the planning commission. So you're talking 90% of the people that live in this vicinity don't want it. We don't want any commercial. The people bought in there because they wanted residential homes for their family and children to grow up. Right next door to him, man just purchased property. I have his name on here. I think he owns Johnny's Burgers or something. And he just went ballistic. He said, I just bought this, spent a lot of money on it, have 3 small children. And Jim has ideas that he's going to do, but nobody can trust him in our area. That's just a feeling that people have on Mr. Murphy. And you can ask some of his other developments that he's done, ask any of the people, it didn't happen. And I'm not here to badmouth him, I've known Jim forever. And another concern, as soon as he gets it rezoned, we figure he'll just stick a for sale sign up there, because he said at the planning commission, most of my realtors work at home off their computer. The only reason they come up here is maybe pull up something that they need. So you're talking 90% here. We didn't come to your group because you're on as mayor, you're on city council. We didn't come to your vote or the rec authority, because I figured they'd have to have a special meeting. So that's the feeling of most of the people that are probably here opposing it.
Okay, let me kind of go over this, and you all help me out. I know we're all trying, and I don't think anybody's personal. I think everybody, let me make sure it's clear, because I want to try to, we have some wrongs we're going to have to right. Because here's the problem. Murphy has a piece of land there that we've allowed to do this, and legally it's going to be hard for him not to be able to conduct business at his place of business he's been doing for 40 years. where it's conformed or not. And I think there's some records that we found back in 1994 that they basically, that the city attorney allowed them to do that and basically gave him allowance to do that. So, I mean, I've done some research on it, so I'm gonna see if I can we're gonna talk through some of this, to get a better understanding. So here's the bottom line is, you want to zone, see a commercial office, right? Commercial office. All right. If he takes that one land out and he doesn't have the other, then he can't resell that land, so what happens to that land? It becomes a vacant lot. Because you can't build a house there. So the problem is, you got a piece of property there that at some point in time is gonna be a problem for that neighborhood if we don't correct an action now anyway. Because the way it reads on the two separate lots, nothing's gonna conform to that lot. He can't build a house there and he can't put an office there. I mean, am I wrong or right?
The north lot where the real estate office currently is, under our current zoning code, would be undevelopable. Yes.
So, well, I know, but, so what happens? Does it grow up in weeds and, I mean,
We're in weeds.
Well, I'm gonna get to that point too, because I'm with you, Mike. I hear you, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. I think we gotta kind of be fair on both sides here. So, I don't know if we're accomplishing anything, what I'm trying to say. If I don't address it right now, then you're gonna have to, something's gonna pop up later on, guys, as a neighborhood. It's gonna be the entrance to your neighborhood. And as a developer on the other side of it, that road that we did right there, that the bank had, it's a lot better than what you had there before. It will be, that whole development at some point in time, because it wasn't kept up either. And I know you don't want that for the interest of your neighborhood. You guys have some great homes out there, and Murphy, you lived out there for 40 years too. I mean, you kind of like that neighborhood yourself at some point. The main thing is, I do agree with Mike. The problem is the scare of the unknown. What are you going to do with the property? I mean, if we zone that, if we correctly zone this JT, he can do anything with it no matter what anyway. I mean, as far as, if we zone it and he builds an office building there, it can be sold the next day no matter what. Any kind of zoning, they can do it on any kind of zoning. So we have to determine whether that's a fact or not, regardless if he's put it for sale or something. We can't look at it like that because we don't have any effect, we don't have any control over that. I looked at what they call a conditional use permit, maybe making him do the timeline, making him do this, do that, but our ordinances don't allow for a conditional use permit. Well, I'm trying to protect these neighbors. I looked at the conditional use permit maybe to say, all right, Murphy, we're gonna give you 3 years to build a deal. I want to see the plans. It all has to conform. It has to do this, this, and this, or we're not going to give you the deal. Or if he doesn't do it, then it reverts back to a certain zone. Does that make sense? But I can't do that based on the current deal. Is that right, Matt?
That's right.
You and Dustin shut me down on that one. Is that right, Dustin?
That's right.
So then I went back. I thought, Murphy, I'm going to talk to Murphy. Murphy, don't say your age, because I asked your age today. Don't tell me your age again. I said, your age, do you really want to build an office? But you said, Matt, you don't have a place for meeting or anything else. And some of your real estate agents go to home, but you need a bigger office space and you want to have something for your daughters and to have an office and everything else, right?
Right.
And I asked you, why would you build a big building there, $500,000 building, which you showed me pictures that you were going to do, is that right?
Right.
Looking at. Why would you not just go ahead and remodel that house and use that for an office?
Well, that makes sense at my age. So,
Like I tell Murphy, at his age, why would you want to go in there and redo all that? And really, if we're going to do that, Mike, then if we allow him to do that, then maybe we ask him to come back with a set of plans of what he's going to do to that lot, how many parking spots he needs to do, where the entrance is going to be, and everything else, and what the front of that's going to look like, and what the side of it's going to look like, and how it's going to do it. And then at that point in time, bring that plan back, let the neighborhood look at it, and see if that conforms to that. Because here's the problem. Everything else is going commercial all the way down this way and all the way back, except that one neighborhood. Now, 23rd Street, I don't know if you've been on 23rd Street in Oklahoma City, they got law offices, everything else all conform to that. That were all houses. They do it in Norman. What's the street in Norman, Dustin? You looked it up.
Shoot, Main Street's done it. There's 3 or 4 streets out.
And I'm not saying that we're gonna do that. I'm just saying those two, that corner right there.
Has the capability.
It has the capability, and it's already currently there, we have to correct that. But I am with the neighborhood. Murphy, we gotta clean everything up, we gotta make it nice if we're gonna do something, and we gotta have something present to where they have some teeth to hold you to make sure that it's all kept up nice. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
And I understand where they're coming from. I mean, you know, it's the entrance to their homes, and those homes are $400,000 houses in there. You know that. You sold a couple of them. So I'm trying to ask, I guess, the traffic wouldn't be an issue because really, and I know what you're saying about the guy on Johnny's, but it goes back to what I told Kathy and Carmen. It's really, like even that bank and everything else, that's open from 8 to 5 and closed on Saturdays at noon and closed on Sundays. You don't have a lot of, the traffic is low. The real estate office would really be the same thing. That would kind of be a protector. You would have 2 more houses, maybe that could go that lot if he split them up. But right now, he's bound up to where he's continuing business there on that one corner. What are we gonna do with that lot? Because we can't conform it if we don't zone it. And he bought the house next door to it to make it conformity. You know, I'm with the neighbors. I don't wanna do anything until I see a plan.
Why didn't he bring a plan to the planning commission and show it to?
Well, because I don't think I had a chance to talk to him. And I don't think I think it's one of those things, I think he wants to do something, and he's done some good things for El Reno. I think it goes back to the point to where I know where your concern is, and it's a valid concern. I'm not denying your concern. I mean, I think that we haven't done a whole lot with that lot. It hasn't been kept up like I'd like to see it on the entrance to your community. It needs to be done right. But if he does new plans, we can make him conform to those based on the building permit and the standards that we can kind of basically hold on to that. And why would he want to spend $500,000 when he could fix that office and use that living room like I told him? He could use that for a conference room. He could have 3 offices built in there and a break in the kitchen. I mean, he could utilize that whole house there, take all those trees down, clean the whole thing up, you know, take that building down and do something with that building, conform that something, whatever we gotta do to clean that up, to make a plan of that. And we'll show you, in my mind, it helps everybody. It saves him $300,000, $400,000, and it gets you all some teeth in a problem you're gonna have at some point in time with a lot that you can't do anything with. That's my problem with it. Does that make sense at all?
There's not much of a lot there for his little building that's rated R1 anyhow. There's not much there. That's why he bought the land next to him. And what's gonna happen when he says, okay, I got it rezoned for sale signs fixed in there?
Well, and I think it's one of those things, I can't look at it like that because I don't know who's gonna buy you and Jackie's house. I hear what you're saying, but that concern, let's take it a step further. Here's what we gotta focus on, Mike, as councilman, as planning, and as long-term commitments. We have to focus on, I don't see it, Dustin, I thought you were gonna give me a copy of what they can. What does commercial office allow?
Commercial office allows.
Where's it at? I told you to get it to me. Where's it at?
I guess I can.
Okay, what is it about?
The list is basically offices. It's it. There's, the
All right,
number of other things.
I want a list. Go get a list. Can we print
Yeah,
this
I'll
off?
put you-
That's one of the 3 things I asked today for this meeting, because I want these neighbors to make sure we're all on the same page of what's allowed there. Because there was some comments about a marijuana shop, and I'm with you, I don't think that's a good spot for it. But it doesn't allow for that. And I say it doesn't allow for that, you have to have a conditional use permit to do that. Is that correct? And
Have to come back.
I can't imagine anybody doing that because the same neighbor's gonna be saying they want a pot shop up there.
If it's a conditional use permit, it's for the benefit of the neighborhood. Marijuana shop,
Well, but it
I'll
wouldn't
be
be,
the first one down there, I guess.
I mean, it wouldn't be, but it wouldn't be, that's the whole thing is, I'm like, it wouldn't be allowed. I guess what I want, what you're asking us to do, and that's all we can do. Someone has to be allowed to do something with their property. We gotta be real careful with that, because I can't go tell Kathy and George that they can't do this with their property, they can't do that with their property.
you know, to a certain. Well, I don't want to. Let me rephrase that, George. I don't want to, and you're right. There is certain amounts we can, you can't, building codes, everything else, so, but I want to be able to, I'm trying to broker this deal where it works for everybody else, because we're not alleviating the problem. Because the problem is you're still have a lot and an ongoing business there, that it's gonna be there forever in that building, and we're not getting anywhere with it right now.
We haven't since 1994 when they deemed it you can't do anything with it.
Well, and that's the whole point is, George, we got to do better for that neighborhood. I mean, no offense, I don't know who the smart guy was that developed all that besides you guys, but they're putting some more big money in those buildings over there. And it's really brought that, you know, we lived there with that derelict, I don't know what you have to call it. Well, but I was going to call it a different name. George and I are both trying to think of a nice name, but George's a good Christian man. He's not thinking the same thing I'm thinking of, but we were going to call that building. It was terrible, George. And at least there's some uniformity to what's happening over there. I mean, you all agree with that, right?
Yes.
That's Mr. Murphy's rent house that you're referring to.
Well, and that's the whole point is, now that goes back to my other point. Do we want another rent house like we had on the other side? Or do we want an office there that we can kind of control? And that's my point to this deal. What are we really gaining and losing here? If we don't do anything at all, then you're gonna have a lot there that we can't conform to anything, that we're gonna have to figure out what to do with, and we're gonna have a rent house over there that we might potentially have what we had on the other side with the old farmhouse. Well, I'm just being honest. Now, and I don't think that's what we all want to accomplish here, and I don't think Murphy wants to do that either. I think Murphy, you know, and I think Murphy wants to absolutely do the right thing. I think we might have to help him a little bit. But
Go to code enforcement and say, hey, mow your stuff and cut your trees.
well, and what I'm saying is, Mike, if you do a different plan, then we have to approve that plan. And when we approve the plan of business, it might help that. Does that make sense? I mean, because right now, you don't have to, you got a lot there that you're gonna have problems with. And to his defense, he bought that to make it conformity. He could still do a lot split between there, maybe sell 2 lots for houses, but that won't fit in that one corner. I wouldn't think, would you?
I don't know the dimensions.
Well, no, I mean, we just looked at it on the paper. Go ahead, Steve.
Matt, is there any way that we can make him, I mean, if it's good, if it gets on commercial offices, is there any way that we can make the traffic go out on Country Club and not affect our neighborhood? Because that's under our own zoning laws, it says that, I lost it here. Not to introduce traffic into solely residential streets and become an intrusion on the residential district. I think that's a lot of, you know, even the parking lot that's there now. You know, if it starts getting busy, that's gonna present a big problem. We need to be able to push that traffic out of the neighborhood, if it's gonna be there, and push it down the country.
It's funny you said that. I talked to Murphy today, didn't I, Murphy?
Hi.
Thank you, Dustin. And Murphy, basically, I told Murphy, we would have to have some tie on to that parking lot, onto the driveway out front, or some type of entrance along the back, Mike, along, you know, somehow to tie on. Is that right, Murphy? And I totally agree with that. I think you're gonna have to have something that uniformly ties on beside there or go whatever else. And what I'm trying to tell you is, would you rather have a rent house, or would you rather have a real estate office that you're gonna have 8 or 9 people there a week, you know, absolutely, you know, on certain times, to where you might be better off doing this. Okay.
That's if it stays a real estate office, like Mike said. If he's trying
Well,
to sell
and that's what I'm telling you right now. Here's what it can be, Steve. Let's go back, because that's what I was wanting to get Dustin. CO is what we're asking for, right? It can be an advertising agent, bank, a bar. No, not a bar. I'm sorry, George. No, just a bank. It had a highlighted extra. Church, synagogue, Tipples, clinic, dental, medical, data processing, another dental clinic, dental laboratory, drafting service, employment service, financial institution, other than pawn shop, newspaper distribution rate, office general, office for nonprofits membership, office professional and governmental, optician, optometrist, orthopedic clinic, savings and loan, school being private school, barber, beauty, or business, secondary, private, that's it. Is that right?
That's it.
That's it. So it can only be one of those. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. If you zone, if you don't zone, we're gonna have problems, and we can zone something else, and it might change everything. But really, this is a pretty limited space of what you can option there. Does that make sense? It all falls within that. You can only do those. Nothing else. And I say nothing else, there's certain things you can do, like a pot shop, whatever else, only with a conditional use permit. But that's granted by the citizens, and that won't happen.
You mentioned medical on there, right? Medical office?
I mentioned medical, yes, sir. Well, I mentioned, yeah, I think I did, but I want to make sure I mentioned the right medical. Clinic, dental, medical.
So, one of the doctors coming in and decides he wants to start distributing marijuana, that's a medical now, the way it's classified.
No, that won't, that's not true. Well, hang on, I said it's not true. I can't stop anybody doing their general practice in there, but he can't go in there just to do that. He has to have a medical license there. I mean, and you know, he has to do checkups and everything else. I don't know what he's doing in there, and you wouldn't know either.
They could prescribe it, they couldn't dispense it.
Yeah, but they could prescribe Vicodin in there. I mean, we don't have any really know that. But they can't do a deal where they say, we're selling pot out of here also. No. Does that make sense? I mean, does that answer anybody's, does everybody know where I'm going with this on this a little bit? I'm cautioning you because it could get worse. I mean,
I don't see
Well,
how.
nothing's changed since 1994.
no, but at some point it's gonna change. At some point it's gonna change.
When he dies.
Well, but, and if he does, it's one of those things, we're going to have to address it then, and you know, the bottom line is that, it can be a real estate office there forever. We're not going to change that. And just because he passed away doesn't change, means it's going to change. Yeah, Carmen?
So, Matt, if the zoning gets changed to commercial office, is what it would be, CO, right?
Yeah.
And he goes ahead with it, he builds a building, and then he sells it or something, and somebody wants it for a retail store or something, they would have to come back to the planning commission and to you guys to get it rezoned again, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, they could not do a retail, you cannot have that's what I'm trying to tell you. The CO really protects you guys more than what you think. It's really limited to what you can and can't do.
Unless they want to rezone it again.
And anybody can do that, that's right. That's exactly right. And anybody can do that, and we do those rezones all the time. And we deny them all the time. It depends. I'm telling you right now, retail would not go good there. And I don't think we would zone I don't think this council would zone retail because it wouldn't fit within the perimeters of what our general layout would be. Is that right? Our 5-year plan, is that right, Dustin?
I would agree with that.
And that would come in play with what our planning commission would do. Let me ask you this. We're still in a public hearing. What if we table this action for 30 days, Murphy? And I think I talked you out of building a brand new building. Because I think you can do more with your money by fixing the house up, getting some plans to fix it up so we know what the time frames are, Kathy. We know what the parking's gonna be. Show me what you're gonna do with it and maybe bring it back and show the neighbors, what we're gonna do with it. I think that would be the best option before we do it. Because I'll be honest with you, we're in a predicament. George, they didn't address this back in 1994, and they damn sure didn't address it 40 years ago when they had the office there. It's gonna have to get corrected at some point in time, guys. Period, end of story.
think his proposal would make a lot of difference in.
I do too, Jackie, because I think it goes back to the point to where.
We
I
just
think-
want to know, we want to see what's going to be.
And
know that it's gonna be done.
I totally agree, because I think, I don't want to prove something blindly on something like this with what we're doing. I think we can back up and punt here a little bit and make it work. Not everybody's gonna be 100% happy, but we need to correct the wrong now and make it right. Does that make sense, Mike?
Well, you're trying. That's what I give you credit for. You're trying to make it work.
Well,
I'm against it, but you're trying to make it work, so I can understand that, and we'll try to. But Jim should have been better prepared and had this already at the planning commission in here.
Well,
Sorry.
and I don't disagree, but I think to defend Mr. Murphy, I think that the natural progression of that around that land has been that way, so he just assumed, why would he not do it? Do you agree with that, JT?
Yeah, and the planning commission doesn't require it.
And the planning commission doesn't really require it, and that's probably on our part. And I think we'll back to the point to where I understand you're against it, and it doesn't change the point. You don't want something next door to you. But at some point in time, and you might not be there either, Mike, at some point in time, there's gonna be something there. We need to, if we can control it and not do a 1994 deal and scruff it off, we're gonna have to deal with it at some point in time, guys.
I understand that.
I mean, that's the point. Because the guy's smart for buying the other lot, because now he can complete what he wants to do one way or the other, and really, he's kind of got precedent on his side in a way. Saying that, I want to do with the neighborhood. I mean, I don't want to go against the neighborhood. Does that make sense? I mean, we have to do what's better. We have to do what's right for all of our neighbors to raise our property values up, but also allow what the proper use for the land is. Does that make sense? And right now, I got an office building that's small, itty bitty, that we can't do anything with, that's limited, with a rent house beside it, that now we want to do a combo with.
Well, everybody comes back in an open mind on this council and everything, what he proposes, and you hold his feet to the fire. Yeah, I'd agree to come back in 30 days or whenever you want.
Well, let's don't set time on it, because it might take a little longer to get some drawings up, Jim. Do you have a problem with that?
No.
Let's come back with some drawings of what we're going to do there to that property, how we're going to improve that property, how we're going to address the drive situation, the deal, and what are we going to do? I think the main concern is, what are we going to do with the looks of that property? What exactly are we going to do? I want to know what we're going to do with those trees, with that lot, how are we going to improve that, the sidewalk, and whatever else. Does that make sense? And that'll still be a lot cheaper if you do that than build a $300-something house to make that a showpiece for Murphy Real Estate and for that addition. Does everybody understand? George, you understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I understand this, and I'm not against progress rail, I've
I
lived
know.
there all my life.
I know you
It's
don't.
just, we've gotta have something that holds him to his word.
I'm trying to get there best I can. Does that make sense?
Because I got a bad taste in my mouth from 1994.
And once again, my problem, George, I'm with you on that. It's not going to go away. You're going to have to deal with this at some point in time.
Since 1994.
Yeah, but now we have an opportunity to alleviate that. Does that make sense? And put some standards, some maybe thumb on what we're going to do, Murphy. All right. Anybody else want to comment on this? I now consider the public hearing closed. Let's move on to B, discussion, consideration, possible action, ordinance number, hang on just a second, don't leave. Possible action 9199, an ordinance for the request by James Murphy to reclassify the zoning district from single family R1 to commercial office CO on a tract approximately 0.65 acres located on the southwest corner of Golf Course Drive and South Country Club Road within the southwest quarter, section 7, township 12, north range 7, more or less than Indian Meridian, Canadian County. All right, I make a motion that we table this until we get some plans back from Mr. Murphy to share with the residents. And Dustin will Mike, I'm gonna make you the point man on this. We'll use that deal you have, and then we'll schedule a meeting up here. We've got to come and present that. and then we'll put it on the agenda at that point in time after we've met with the people that signed the stuff. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
I got a motion and a second. Roll call start vote with Cronister.
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn.
Yep.
Councilman Robinson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Yes.
Mayor White.
Abstain. Motion carries 4-0, or 4-1, one abstention. All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
That sound fair?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. Murphy, you okay? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
All right, we'll move on to 10. Discussion, consideration, possible action to approve subdivision entrance sign for Crimson Lake Estates. Okay, Bromlow, you're here with that. What do you got us a nice pretty sign coming in? You got a nice pretty sign coming in for us?
Yes, we do, for the new housing addition out there by the lake. We have a structure, be double-sided, go in the inside median of the established area, and if there's any questions, I will get as detailed as you like.
Is there lights inside of it? Not the sign, I'm talking about
No.
Okay.
It is externally lit. It'll be lit
No,
from the...
the inside the island, I'm sorry.
Yes, that is the proposed, that is not in my scope of work, but that is the proposed that the developer's going to do once the landscaping is finished up in that area.
Right. I mean, it looks good. They poured it all. I mean, I don't know if y'all have looked at it. It looks great. Chris, you make great signs. They don't do really well in tornadoes. But, but we're going to fix it. I'm going to fix it.
It just took a bow.
But no,
It's still there.
Looks great. I mean, they went to planning commission, didn't it?
Yep.
That's no problems.
That's great.
Looks beautiful. I'm ready to go. I'm ready for them to get houses.
Okay?
Thanks, Chris. Got a motion? Got a second? Roll call vote start with Ryder.
Councilman Robinson.
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn.
Yep.
Vice Mayor Cronster.
Yes.
Mayor White.
Yes. We'll move on to 11, discussion consideration possible action resolution number 1937, resolution to City of El Reno, City authorizing the municipal authority, the authority to assist City of El Reno City, carrying administration of Crossroads Point, economic development project plan adopted by the city, approving and authorizing execution and amended and all reinstated Crossroads Points LLC, ratifying, confirming the security agreement by and between the authority and the city pertaining to the tax increment revenues, approving the use of assistance in development financing and containing other provisions thereto.
Motion to approve for authority.
I have a motion approved for authority.
How it is?
Okay, I got a motion approved.
Approved.
Second. We got a motion approved and a second. Robinson, roll call start with Ryder.
Yes.
Councilman Robinson.
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cronster.
Yes.
Mayor White.
Yes, we'll move on to 12, discussion to hold a public hearing, FY16 CBG grant, CBG Storm Sewer Channel Rehab Project, final performance report. I now consider the public hearing open. Millie, get up here, girl.
I will. I just knew all of that audience was.
What's here for you?
Yeah, they were here for public hearing for you, Millie.
That's just what I imagined it was, you know. Appreciate the opportunity to meet with you tonight. Since we're in public hearing, the topic is the closeout of the fiscal year 2016 storm drainage channel rehab project. This was over in the Keith Addition from Watt Street to London Street. And we received, the city received money in the amount of $67,853. All of the grant funds were spent on construction. The city contributed a large match amount, over $300,000 to the project. And at this point, the project is completed. All monies have been spent. The Department of Commerce has audited the file. Your staff does an excellent job. I work in a lot of cities, and your staff does an excellent job. The project did serve 51% low-mod income as a requirement of the program. All of the program requirements were met: environmental review, Uniform Acquisition Act, fair housing, civil rights, EEO, all of those things. Final inspection was done, and Steve Fox has provided us with a certificate of completion. So at this point, I would just pause, since we're in public hearing, to see if you all have questions or if any of the public has questions.
Millie, we've done the water lines, sewer lines over the years, you and I, and we've kind of worked on that, and we've decided to turn our focus mainly to our drainage issues the next several years. We've done that, and we'll continue doing that. And we met with Mr. Fraser, we met with the engineer today, and we're excited about some emergency funds we're gonna spend, there's some areas that we'll talk about maybe again, result, but we really appreciate everything. CBGB grants have been very helpful for the city of El Reno, and I've applied for them over the years, and we've done real good with them, haven't we, Millie?
We have.
And we've worked real hard on those, and Bob, the Northwest community has qualified for a lot of them, and a lot of that area has all been rebuilt, water, sewer, and everything else based on those grants that we've got over the years, so appreciate it. And then I think, we're gonna try to work on, as we go on, these drainage areas, some of those areas qualify as far as finish up the drainage all the way from where we started here on London, Mr. Fraser going across from Sunset and Reno, and then we're gonna go hopefully over different areas like behind Cherokee Lane, some other areas that we hope to qualify at that point in time. So, Millie, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the public hearing? Any other comments for the public hearing? Any other comments or questions for Millie or the city of El Reno on public hearing? Now consider public hearing closed. Thank you, Millie. We'll go on to 13, discussion, consideration, possible action to approve the closeout resolution 19-042, resolution approving accepting 16754 CBGB 16 storm drainage channel rehab project and complete authorizing the mayor to sign and close out all documents associated thereto. I got a motion by Cronister, second by Robinson. Roll call start with Cronister.
Yes.
Yep.
Councilman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Ryder? Yes. Mayor White?
Yes. Go on to 14, discussion, consideration, possible action regarding approved contract with Millie Vance Incorporated prepared FYI 2019 CBGB grant application and administer project. Millie, what we're going to do here is just what I just said. We're going to continue the project storm from London all the way to Sunset, and then Jeff, we're going to Marcia, Mr. Frazier, correct me if I'm wrong, where the blowout happened on Reno. We're going to try to do that emergency fund from Sunset on around to Mrs. What's her name? Right around the corner. End up on 4 Mile Creek.
Yes.
What's her name, Jeff? She calls me all the time. We're going to go right around the corner there. So we're excited about that. That'll help clean all that up. And boy, that's a long project that we've been working on a long time. That'll be a great project. If you haven't seen the one with Keith, it's working like a charm. Working like a charm. Okay. So we'll finish that out. That's great. All right, I make a motion, we enter the contract with Miller.
Second.
I got a second, roll call vote, start with Ryder.
Yes.
Councilman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Baldwin? Vice Mayor Cronister?
Yes.
Mayor White?
Yes. All right, can I hold the public hearing FY 2019 CBGB grant, platted Reno Avenue Drainage Channel Project. That's what we're talking about. All right, I make a motion that we hold a public hearing. Basically, Millie, we got a public hearing for the project right there at Reno. We've had a severe blowout since we put this project on there. We've talked to FEMA today. There was a little bit of blowout there, but since the floods, there was a tremendous blowout there, so I'm going to go ahead and consider that under the emergency funds, and we'll go ahead and administer that as we go ahead and improve the process, to go ahead and try to recoup some of that 70 to 80% recoup under the FEMA funds under that process. We're going to go ahead and go forward with that at this point in time to do that. Is that correct?
That's right.
Any other questions or comments on this? Any other concerns on the public hearing on this project on Reno? Now consider.
I would add, Matt, that Shane with Public Works Department and I were over there doing income surveys today, and the people over there are thrilled with what was done last year, and they're very excited about more drainage improvements in that area. Very supportive of it.
We're excited about it. That's something I've been really wanting to get done. We got a great plan. We've been working on it for several years, and it's really working. Okay, then once we get done with all that, to answer the questions that were in public hearing, then we'll come back with that little bitty stretch in between Legion Park and Watts. Everybody's going to ask, how come we're leaving that out? There's several utilities in there, and it's kind of a little bit more difficult. We're going to go ahead and get this right away done since we're already going that way. Don't you agree, Matt? Yeah. Mr. Frazier? We'll get that done, and then we'll come back and we'll figure that middle piece out, and we'll do that right. We might do some a little bit fancier stuff there after we get done. Does that make sense? Okay. Any other questions? Consider public hearing closed. Go on to 16, discussion consideration possible action to adopt citizens participation plan, adopt resolution, anti-displacement plan for 2019 CBG grant, Reno drainage project. Make a motion, we consider adopting the plan.
Second.
Motion second, roll call, let's start with Ryder.
Yes.
Councilman Robinson?
Yep.
Councilman Ballhorn? Vice Mayor Cronster?
Yes.
Mayor White?
Yes. Number 17, discussion, consideration, possible action, approval, resolution number 1943, resolution applying for the FY 2019 CBGB grant, approval resolution number 19044, resolution on leverage matching funds for FYI 2019 CBGB Reno Revenue Drainage Project. I make a motion that we approve. The motion second. Roll call, let's start with Cronster.
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn?
Yep.
Councilman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Ryder?
Yes.
Mayor White?
Yes. Move on to number 18, discussion, consideration, possible action to approve and read the 2019 Fair Housing Proclamation for the purpose of the FYI 2019 CBGB project. Proclamation, this is pursuant to the authority granted me as mayor of the city of El Reno. I do file proclaim that the city of El Reno supports and encourages the fair housing practices. I further agree and decree that the city affirms the following concepts and practices to intend embodied by the federal, state, and local laws in regard to fair housing. The Fair Housing Act prohibits discrimination in housing because of any race, color, nationality, origin, religion, sex, familial status, sexual orientation, gender identity, disability, or any other characteristic protected by law. The City of El Reno encourages all of its citizens, agencies, lenders, and real estate businesses planning housing promotions or activities to implement the provisions of the Fair Housing Act. I do hereby proclaim this as mayor of the City of El Reno. I have a motion that we adopt this.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Roll call start with Ryder.
Yes.
Councilman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn?
Yep.
Vice Mayor Cronster?
Yes.
Mayor White?
Yes. Here you go, Millie, I signed it. All right, we'll go on to 19, discussion, consideration, possible action, award a contract for electrical work associated with renovation plans at the City of El Reno Carnegie Library. Matt, we've got the fixtures, we bought them separately, part of the process. I think he's more familiar with these than you know. And then you got a couple bids on the electrical, put that in.
Installing the fixtures, adding electrical outlets where we need them.
Did you put some added in there for added outlets that we kind of discussed that we might need?
Yes.
Because I want to make sure we get those outlets that you're going to need there, Kylie. I want to make sure we do that.
My low bid on the electrical work was Baker Electric at $28,295. I added in a not to exceed price because I knew that there's going to be some outlets that we didn't think of that we need to add. I want to go ahead and build that into his contract so we don't have to bring it back to City Council, so we already have that built in. There's a couple of walls where we may add depending on computer placement and that sort of thing. So the not to exceed price would be $32,500 to cover additional things. And we know that with a building built in 1905, there's going to be some surprises as well. So we may be back there anyway, but hopefully not. Hopefully not. Yeah.
Okay. So I need a motion to approve Baker Electric not to exceed $32,500.
So, second.
I got a motion by Robinson, second by Cronster. Roll call vote start with Ryder.
Yes.
Councilman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn?
Yep.
Vice Mayor Cronster?
Yes.
Mayor White?
Abstain. We'll move on to 20, discussion, consideration, possible action, approval of FY 2020 contract with Oklahoma Department of Corrections. This was in the third authority. Do I have a motion for authority?
So moved.
I got a motion by Cronster, second by Robinson. Roll call start with Cronster.
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn?
Yep.
Councilman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Ryder?
Yes.
Mayor White?
Yes, of course. Presentation of financial report. Marcia, how you doing over there?
All right.
You and Mr. Frazier getting through it?
Yes.
Let's kind of talk about the budget a little bit if we don't, since we're kind of on this item. We met with all staff, Mr. Frazier, myself met first, kind of over the budget. I think we're all, in agreements of what we all discussed and everything else. So we have the things ready for you. We did flatline it, back it back down. Not saying I'm right, but I am usually. The sales tax was down this month, is that?
Yes.
Okay. So,
bad.
the indicators are where we are, staff is ready to go, we'll be able to present that to you, just not with a whole lot of change, but basically, you know, what we all agreed upon was to look at it in 3-month increments, every 3 months, let's look at adjust it, hold off on hiring everybody until we do that. And really, the way we looked at it was some of the training and stuff we needed at that point in time, it really wasn't gonna affect us the first 3 months. We all believe in the first 6 months of the budget will be a telltale sign of where we can adjust it to where it was presented, or we can adjust it to where it was. Is that right, Mr. Frazier? Correct. So that's kind of where we were. And I appreciate Mr. Frazier's help with all this. Marcia and all her team, appreciate you all so much, working tirelessly to get everything all right. I know you all scrambled to get it done, but I think we'll all be ready to make the deadlines. Is that right, Mr. Frazier?
It'll be ready for presentation Wednesday.
Okay, I think we're ready to go. Any other comments on presentation of the financials?
I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you say that the sales taxes are down this month?
Yes, from what they've been at the end, yes. They're
Okay,
not in
compared to
there.
last month.
That's last month's anyway, they were up then.
Okay, okay, because I was looking.
It just came out.
2009,
It just came out.
2009.
What you have there is, yeah, you're 1 month behind me on this. Okay, all right. Let's move on. 22, is that right? Discussion, consideration, possible action to approve ordinance number 9195, ordinance amending code 147, creating an article, is that 5? No, it's 6, is that right? Same as being the ordinance, City of El Reno, relating to the creation of business license program, repealing ordinances, conflict, prevailing for severability, and declaring emergency. Basically, we approved this last meeting, is that right, Lindsay? We just have to go ahead and vote on it again, and then declare an emergency, because we have people that weren't here, Timmy.
Special.
Whatever. All right. I make a motion we approve.
Second.
You got a motion second, roll call vote, start with Cronister?
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn. Councilman Robinson.
Yes.
Councilman Ryder.
Yes.
Mayor White.
Yes.
Motion to declare an emergency.
I got a motion for emergency.
Second,
Roll call start with Ryder.
yes.
Councilman Robinson. Councilman Ballhorn. Vice Mayor Cronster.
Yes.
Mayor White.
Yes. Number 23, discussion consideration possible action ordinance number 9196, an ordinance of the City of El Reno, Oklahoma, closing vacating 15-foot wide easement within Lot 2, Block 1, Greensville Country Club addition to the City of El Reno and declared an emergency. As it was all approved, so we just need to do this deal to ratify it.
Motion approved.
I got a motion by Conster, second by Robinson, roll call vote, start with Ryder.
Yes.
Councilman Robinson.
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn.
Sustain.
Vice Mayor Cronster.
Yes.
Mayor White.
Abstain. So,
32.
did you have to have super majority on that one now?
I wasn't here.
Okay. Now, do I have a motion for,
Motion for emergency.
Second,
I have a motion, second, roll call vote, start with Ryder.
yes.
Councilman Robinson.
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn.
Sustain.
Vice Mayor Cronster.
Yes.
Mayor White.
Abstain. So 2-3. 2-3.
2, 3, 3, 2.
It's 3-2.
Same thing. 24, discussion consideration possible action 91, ordinance in City of El Reno to closing vacating 16-foot portion 80-foot cross access road paved utility easement within Lot 2, Block 1, Greens Country Club addition, City of El Reno declaring an emergency. This was approved. Motion approved. Second by Robinson. Roll call start with Cronister.
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn.
Sustain.
Councilman Robinson.
Yes.
Councilman Ryder. Yes. Mayor White.
Abstain.
Motion to declare an emergency.
Got a motion?
Second.
Got a motion second. Roll call vote start with Cronister.
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn.
Sustain.
Councilman Robinson.
Yes.
Councilman Ryder. Yes. Mayor White.
Abstain. Motion carries 3-2. Go on 25, discussion consideration possible action ordinance number 9198, ordinance of City Council of Reno, Oklahoma, adding section 343-72 designated records to be impounded by vehicles, creating a record rotating system and imposing requirements for providing record services when requested by the City of El Reno, repealing ordinances in conflict, preventing for severability and declaring emergency.
So moved.
Got a motion?
Second.
Second, roll call, let's start with Cronister.
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn.
Sustain.
Councilman Robinson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Yes.
Mayor White.
Yes.
Motion to declare an emergency.
Got a motion?
Second,
Second, roll call, start with Ryder.
yes.
Councilman Robinson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ballhorn.
Sustain.
Vice Vice Mayor Griffin.
Yes.
Mayor White.
Yes, motion carries. All right, we're going to G, reports. All right, JT, you got anything?
Yes, sir.
Bob, you got anything? No. Tim, you got anything?
Debris in my neighborhood I would like to see if we can get a time
Let us answer that question.
that we might could get the neighbors happy.
No, we're gonna get the neighbors happy. Guess what? We started today, did we not, Matt? We started today, and we started on 66 Highway, and your neighborhood is in the loop.
The debris management company said that it'll take 3 to 4 days to get it all picked up throughout town. That's flooding and tornado debris. So they brought a knuckle boom truck up from Houston, pick it up off the right of way.
So how's that?
All past the work.
Okay.
I picked my own up, so.
Yeah. But that's good. All right, Tracy. Okay. Jeremy. Couple things. We got chicken fried steak, American Legion Friday. One of the best cooks in the world's cooking that for you. And Timmy. And I want to help assist him. Don't forget we have the Coyette concert. Coyette and a bunch of Coyette camper and a bunch of people got together at the rodeo grounds, and they're going to have a great concert. It's going to be Father's Day afternoon, so all kinds of rodeo grounds. It starts at 1 o'clock. Bring your lawn chair. They're trying to raise more money for the storm victims. What a great tribute and trying to get going on that. What a great fun time. And then we have Kent's going to tell me something. Where's the phone at?
Under appreciation.
Thunder Appreciation's Friday. At the Thunder group called me, and they wanted to do something to help with El Reno. Did they, Mr. Frazier? We were all out there, and they want to come out. They're going to cook hot dogs and bring a lot of people from the Thunder organization out to Lake El Reno, and they're going to be there from 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock Friday, this Friday, the 14th. Is that right?
You're correct.
And
You have hot dog and a chicken fried steak.
yeah, you can have a hot dog there and then come get chicken fried steak. But and then so they're going to have the Thunder out there, big deal, a lot of fun right there at the big pavilion at Lake El Reno, the 14th. And then we're going to also get a town hall together for FEMA and any other. We want to go back over the victims to make sure, reassess everybody. The 20th at the Fire Safety Center. What time, Kent?
We're still working on that, see what works best
We're gonna do
with
like a
FEMA
five-
to get them all there. We
Yeah.
met with them today.
And you're going to see a lot of blue shirts in town, a lot of FEMA shirts in town. They start coming in tomorrow. She said they're renting motel rooms right now, and they're getting on the ground. So the next 2 or 3 days, you're going to see, I think they got 15 or 16 people come in. And we were real helpful with giving them the information, Matt. Did you get that to them? Or you will tomorrow?
Yes.
And all the telephone numbers, so they'll be in contact with all the people that we have contact with the flooding and everything else. And we'll be putting on our website. And Ray, we probably need to run an ad to paper, Mr. Frazier, with the telephone number of the FEMA, telephone number for people to register on the flooding and a tornado, to make sure they register. Everybody needs to register. It helps everybody get the information. It helps all the money come in. Speeds it up, and it helps everything go. So.
And like mentioned, even if you have insurance, still you want to.
That's a great point, Mr. Frazier. You bring that point up when we have that deal. Even if you have insurance, we want to make sure you fill that out, because that helps the overall have us get a grip of what the total loss was over the whole county and the town. Great point. Thank you, Mr. Frazier. Any other comments, questions? Motion for adjournment. So moved. I got a motion. Second. Got a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. We're adjourned.